Former President Biden has given his first public remarks since his office revealed he was diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer earlier this month. The former president spoke at a Memorial Day event in Delaware where he honored military members and also talked about his son, Beau Biden, who died 10 years ago Friday. Speaking with reporters after, he dismissed allegations of a cover-up of any sort of decline in his physical and cognitive health while in office. A new book released last week claimed the First Lady and close aides sought to hide it from the public. Here's what the White House is saying about these claims, along with what the former president's tongue-in-cheek response was.
I think anybody looking again at the videos and photo evidence of Joe Biden with your own eyes and a little bit of common sense can see this was a clear cover-up. And Jill Biden was certainly complicit in that cover-up.
Do you have anything to say to the press secretary about who went after your wife yesterday at the briefing?
I don't know who the press secretary is.
For more, let's bring in Adam Wren. He is a senior national politics correspondent for Politico and has covered the former president. Adam, thanks for being here. How are prominent figures in the Democratic Party reacting to these claims about Biden's decline?
Well, as one Democratic strategist put it to me, Lindsay, they are ripping the Band-Aid off, a lot of them. They are addressing the fact that many of them vouched for his condition, his good health last year as surrogates on the campaign trail. And now they know that they have a trust problem with the average median voter, and they need to address it. And so many of them are saying that maybe the party would have been better off had Joe Biden not run for re-election. People like his own cabinet secretary, former transportation secretary Pete Buttigieg, who is looking at a 2028 bid, said as much several weeks ago in Iowa. People like Ro Khanna, who in 2024 compared him to a boxer like Rocky Balboa, is admitting that he wasn't quite well enough to run for re-election and perhaps hurt the party. And Senator Chris Murphy, who's also looking at 2028, said there was no doubt that there was decline cognitively. And so a number of Democrats are sort of fleeing the blast radius around Biden after the release of this book that you mentioned.
Is it that a majority of Democrats are saying we didn't know how bad it was because he was shielded, or are a majority saying, yeah, we shouldn't have vouched for him like we did? And do you think it could affect future prospects? I mean, you mentioned Buttigieg, former VP Kamala Harris, anyone who might have ambitions in the next few races.
Yeah, I think it's both and. I think, people like Pete Buttigieg say, look, when we needed something from President Biden as a cabinet official, we got it. Also, as a transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg isn't necessarily dealing with the president every day. Vice President Kamala Harris has a little bit more exposure there. And then a lot of the governors are saying that they were kept at bay by the president's inner circle. The book you mentioned calls them the Politburo. And so they're taking both tacks, and they're saying, look, we need to turn the page here. We need to move beyond the Biden blast radius. And some campaigns are even blocking and blacklisting former Biden operatives from working on their future campaigns. And so the party is certainly breaking with Biden as they look toward the future and try to find their way out of the wilderness.
You have new reporting about two potential 2028 Democratic candidates, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear and California Congressman Ro Khanna. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so they are going to meet with a group of Democratic mayors, the Democratic Mayors Association in Cleveland, Ohio, in July. Mayors, of course, run the blocking and tackling of political campaigns, the machinery of them across the country, and they're key surrogates to have. And so it's clear that they're trying to build inroads in places like Cleveland, Ohio, where they'll be going for this summit. And they're trying to build those relationships before the campaign even begins. We have a number of candidates in South Carolina right now for the South Carolina Democratic Party dinner. People like current Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Maryland Governor Wes Moore. And so the shadow primary is actually coming out of the shadows and into the light as time progresses. You also report that some of President Trump's allies are upset over Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy for getting involved in Michigan Senate primary and endorsing a candidate different from whom national Republicans favor. What's going on, and could this lead to like a blanket policy of cabinet secretaries staying out of primaries? Yeah, I mean, we have Sean Duffy campaigning for Representative Huizenga on the west side of Michigan. Bill Huizenga is looking at running for Senate against Mike Rogers. The National Republican Senatorial Committee, as well as Senate Majority Leader John Thune, have already come out on Mike Rogers' behalf. Trump hasn't decided yet who he's going to endorse, but I'm told he's leaning towards Mike Rogers, who ran last year and lost to Alyssa Slotkin. And Bill Huizenga is basically saying, why are we running a candidate who lost again this year when he lost last year? And he's saying that he's a better choice. But yeah, Trump's allies are upset about this. They're upset that the cabinet secretary, who's already dealing with the transportation crisis in New Jersey at the Newark airport with flight controllers, is now putting his thumb on the scale ahead of the president, getting ahead of President Trump in a crucial primary, perhaps the Senate race that could alter the composition of the Senate more than any others. And he's getting ahead of the president. And that's not being taken well by Trump's top political allies.
All right, Adam Wren, thank you.
Good to be with you.